Bruce, welcome back to Tuscaloosa. I hope all is well.
Thanks for having me.
I can only imagine what your cell phone looks like. I mean, are you able to keep up with the text messages and notifications on your phone? What does it look like, really, this time of the year?
It's been an interesting week. This is something that, this story, I wouldn't say I was reporting it necessarily for a while. I mean, I had heard before the Orange Bowl went over Oklahoma that there was probably going to be quite another round of turnover on the staff after last year. And the more people I talked to, this wasn't just like from like one person. You just talked to a lot of people. You start hearing more and more of it. And then it really blew up a week ago with the Dan Enos departure, how it unfolded. And it's different. It's just been, and I would expect a little even more staff turnover probably to happen in Tuscaloosa. So it's been an interesting couple weeks.
So, Bruce, you think there's more to come here in T-Town?
I do. I mean, everything I've heard, maybe one or two more staff departures. So we'll see. Obviously, there's quite a bit of transition. I mean, the most important part is obviously Nick Saban is still there. He's the greatest coach that the sport's ever seen, and he's got his core guys in the support part of it. Scott Cochran, the strength coach, and Jeff Allen, the head of sports medicine side of things. Those guys are there. I think you're going to have some other key pieces that will remain on the staff, but for the most part, I think you're seeing just a lot of turnover, and we're going to see how, Steve Sarkisian is familiar with the place, and now he's going to take over such an explosive offense with Tua and those great receivers and a couple of five-star running backs. It's going to be interesting to see his spin on things.
Bruce, you hear a lot of stories about coaches departing programs. What was it that caught your attention about Dan Enos and the way that he left Alabama?
Well, so about a week ago, it was a Thursday night, I started hearing rumblings that Miami was very interested in him to be its offensive coordinator. Manny Diaz had taken over, and what surprised me was, just from what I think is a rational perspective, I was like, okay, he's not going to go there because he's got Tua coming back, and he's got those receivers and all this firepower on the offensive side of the ball. He has a really good year and does what we expect him to do at Alabama, which means go play for another title. I would think he's gonna his stock will soar, and he'll have a chance to maybe after one more season get a Power 5 head coaching job. I couldn't think he was going to kind of bolt and go for the Miami option, but he did, and that's where I think it all kind of we've seen turnover. I think what's different in this case is this wasn't a Jim McElwain or a Kirby Smart or Mike Locksley going to run your own program deal. And it wasn't one of those cases where we've seen plenty of times where a well-regarded assistant, but for whatever reason, the fit isn't right, or Nick Saban feels like he needs to go in a different direction. Those guys are nudged out or kind of pushed out to find a soft landing. This was different. I mean, he was a guy they wanted, really liked what he had done, felt good about the direction of things, and then there's the 180, and now he's in Coral Gables instead of Tuscaloosa.
And it's a great story, and it gives us some great insight of all the shuffling going on. And you never know, maybe Nick Saban was trying to go after someone else, and maybe there's a reason that Dan Enos did what he did. I mean, but he left in the middle of the night. I think you kind of described it as the Colts. He moved, or the quote that you've got in here, he moved out like the Colts, one person with knowledge of the matter.
Yeah, I mean, I when I heard that, it resonated with me. Now, I was curious, that's a long time ago. I was wondering how many people are going to get that reference, but just the idea, well, the night before, everybody felt like he's not going to Miami, and then all of a sudden the next day, where's Dan? And then it starts to get around, and Miami's announcing him later that morning. So it was just quite a whirlwind. And again, I mean, for people looking and go, wow, Danny, somebody bailed on Nick Saban. I mean, I wouldn't read so much into it like, oh man, the dynasty's crumbling. I mean, it's an assistant who felt like, you know what, this isn't the best fit for me, and I'm going to move on. What I tried to get into in the story from talking to a lot of guys who've worked there on Nick Saban's staff was just, what's the dynamic like? How much of a grind is it? What is it? What is it like for you to be in the middle of that? And so I think for people who read the story on the Athletic, they'll get a better perspective on it. It's not for everybody, and clearly it wasn't for Dan Enos.
Bruce, what do you see in Nick Saban with trying to go back with some familiar names, familiar faces? We kind of say it, the boys are back in town, going after some names that we know a lot about here in T-Town.
Yeah, I think you've had so much transition in the last few years. I mean, obviously there's been a ton of transition and turnover, unlike any other powerhouse championship program. That, it's on a different level than what he's had there. And this has even been at a staggering rate with 6 last year and probably maybe 7 this year. So I think what was key for him was, hey, let me make sure I have some guys in the mix who know what I expect, know how I operate, and I know what they're about. And I think that's why you see Sark. I think that's why you're going to see Salsa Terry in there. And I just think that for the core pieces, I think those are key pieces that he trusts.
Bruce, we're hearing a lot of names like Jimmy Lake and Bo Davis, and I know it's just throwing up names, but do you think those are realistic possibilities that we could be talking about in the next couple of weeks here in T-Town?
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see on the Bo Davis front. Jimmy Lake has had a lot of big opportunities in the past. I know he loves the situation in Seattle. I mean, who knows? I guess you never say never. I mean, he's a really well-respected defensive coordinator, and he has an NFL background. I don't know. I'd be a little surprised on that one just because I don't think Jimmy Lake's had some opportunities to make a run at head coaching jobs, and he's not going to leave unless it's a really perfect situation. So I don't know. I think that one would surprise me a little bit, to be honest.
When you look at Sark, you studied him on the quarterback side of things, and you've been very familiar with what he's been able to do. Does that free up a possibility of another coaching? Because it looks like he could probably do both, be an OC and also a quarterback coach. Maybe Nick Saban adds another defensive staff member on that side rather than on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, I mean, he's been known as a good quarterback guy, and I think that's probably, from what I heard, that's something that is appealing to Nick Saban, to have somebody who's an offensive coordinator who has worked with quarterbacks extensively. Obviously, Enos had that background, and certainly Sark has that background. So I think that's probably in line with, for a variety of reasons. With him, I also think temperament. Obviously his off-field issues from years ago have been pretty well documented. But from everything I've heard, he's in a better place health-wise, and I think just the temperament he has. He's a pretty cool customer, and I think that part bodes well. I'm interested to see how, because Sark was really only the play caller for that one game. He's kind of, when Lane moved on to FAU, it shifted. But beyond that, I think it's going to be interesting to see him kind of get more of the spotlight and get more back in the swing of things, at least on the college side. He obviously had that with the Falcons the last couple of years. But I think on that regard, I think he can handle it. Just what I remember he was like when he was much more mature than his age way back when. So he's been through a lot, and I think he's seen a lot.
Hey, Bruce, talk about the Athletic. You guys are doing some pretty amazing work there and breaking a lot of stories in college football and around the world of sports in general.
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity. I mean, I feel like with this story, the response has been, amazing. And I think people just see, they just want to read people who are going to go pursue good stories and go in-depth reporting, as opposed to all the pop-ups and aggregation and all the just kind of a clutter that you get. It's a really good reading experience if you sign up. If you sign up for this particular story that has gotten a lot of attention on Alabama's coaching staff, you get everything. I mean, you get Aaron Suttle's work covering the team on the day-to-day. You get Seth Emerson on Georgia. I mean, it's not like one thing you only get. You get, if you're interested in the Braves, you're interested in the Cowboys, whatever, in addition to the college football coverage. So we're really thrilled with the response we've had to the way things are going, and feel like people know it, may cost you like the value of a cup of coffee, but it pays off in the long run. People find a lot of value in it.
And also connect with Bruce Feldman on the Twitter account, Bruce Feldman, CFB, theathletic.com, theathletic.com. Bruce, as always, thank you again for squeezing us in. A very busy schedule this afternoon. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Ryan.